Welcome everybody. It's your boy MarkN MUFC fan, and you know what it is. Smash the likes, subscribe. We are here because, guys, we're going to be discussing who's going to come out on top tomorrow night. You know, it's the biggest game of the Premier League right now. Monday Night Football. Manchester United is on the scene, and of course, guys, even though everyone knows I may not have much faith in the manager as we speak, I am a Man United fan, a positive fan of that, and I do think Man United will come out on top tomorrow. And I'm here to give you a little bit of insight. As you can see, my progressive starting lineup is in the building. I will also construct it so that you guys will get a picture of the players that I'm talking about. I'm thinking might be deserving of a start because guess what, guys? I'm looking at it slightly differently. And I'm thinking, with the fact that we have players missing, there might yet be an opportunity for players coming into the team to show their readiness to make it, to make that, give the manager a headache for starting positions after AFCON. Everyone knows that Brian Mbeumo is gone. There's no Brian Mbeumo, there's no Ahmad, there's no Nusa Mazarawi. So, guys, what are we doing? How are we going to make up for these things? And of course, this is the options that we have available to us. There's Joshua Zirkzee. There's the likes of Dorgu, and in an option and position that you guys may not have expected him to be in, because I will be playing him on the right back. Of course, my brethren, and he was not here right now, but maybe he will come in later. Bali Tech has always been saying he thinks that Dorgu is more confident off the right hand side and might present a better performance. So, guys, for me, I'm thinking it's certainly going to be interesting to see what the manager does. Of course, I would expect Bruno to come into the 10 position where Mbumo was. And of course, let Mason Mount fill the role of Bruno Fernandes next to Casemiro. We know Mount has an engine and definitely can swap with Bruno or Cunha if need be. Dallo should be remaining at the left wing back, in my honest opinion, because he's been performing really well there in the last two games. I don't think anyone could be complaining about Dallas' performance in the last two games. So let's get a third game on that same level of performance and let's see how it goes. Of course, we will be discussing the big threats, and of course, you know the threats at Bournemouth. They are live and in charge, and of course, interesting talents. But we also have some threats ourselves, guys. Semenyo will present an interesting threat for Manchester United as he will be definitely trying to get himself back on a consistent score sheet and getting goals in in the game. And I'm looking forward to see what will be happening because, of course, we have Bruno is in form. He currently leads the league in every metric for a midfielder in terms of goals, assists, progressive passes, big chances created. Of course, the list goes on. And of course, Matthias Cunha, will he start scoring? He was very influential in the last game. Of course, he didn't put a goal past Wolves, but he certainly set up Bruno Fernandes and should have had a goal on multiple occasions, in my honest opinion. I don't know what you guys are thinking about in the chat, but certainly smash the like, subscribe if you're new, and let me know in the comments what you're thinking. Who is going to be key for Manchester United? Who is the key player for Bournemouth? Which one of the Bournemouth players will be certainly that player to be watching out for? And of course, we have Semenyo there. There's also Clivert, but he hasn't played much games this season. So let's see how it goes. It's going to be an interesting matchup tomorrow night. Does United have the Old Trafford factor? Will the home fans help United dictate the tempo more than Bournemouth, who will certainly be enjoying from historic performances against Manchester United in the last two seasons? Of course, last season they beat us twice. It will be interesting to see what happens. Of course, United have a score to settle, guys. So I don't expect any of the players to be short coming up short in that game tomorrow. But let's hear your opinions, guys, in the chat as we explore this. Of course, I will be playing the manager's press conference shortly to hear what the manager's thoughts are. We know he was speaking before ahead of the game. And of course, I know you guys would like to know what he was saying, and we would like to hear what his thoughts are because he is going to choose who he wants. And of course, it will be very interesting to see who the manager selects because at the end of the day, yeah, it's a game I think Man United must win. And of course, we look forward to see what Amarim's performance will be. And of course, this is part one, guys. Let's get it out of the way. Let's hear what the manager has to say, because we all want to know, guys. You know what I'm saying? So let's hear what the manager has to say in his press conference. Let's see what's happening there. And guys, of course, let me know your thoughts.
Hi. Team news: Benjamin Sesko, is he available? About Matthias de Ligt and Harry Maguire?
Maguire is out. De Ligt is out. Ben, we have to see. We have to see if he's available. He had some poisoning. So, but we'll see. Let's wait. We have 2 trainings still, but the other 2 are out. Benjamin, I will assess.
The other players absent, and also we're thinking about the Africa Cup of Nations. Are those 3?
We are still in conversation with the national teams. The game is just Monday. They are here. They are training, and we are trying to prepare all the scenarios to prepare the game.
Is that frustrating, not knowing if you're going to be without 3 senior players?
It's frustrating, but at the same time, nobody knows who is going to play. So it's a good thing, I think. So we have players to cope with everything, and that is something with a long week. You can see a lot of things and work on several stuff to prepare the game.
Interesting comments there.
Matt, when you arrived, you said he was one of the players you're really looking forward to work with. And obviously now he's back from injury, and the stats suggest that when he's in the team, you win far more games than you do when he's out of the team. How important has he been to what you're trying to do?
I think it's hard to make that connection. Is a fact, but it's not just that. We have to look at the way the game was. But he's a very, very smart player. He's really technical, because sometimes to be a technical player is not just having fun with the ball, is the quality of the pass, the reception, how to receive the ball. In these things, he's really smart. He can balance our team quite well. So he's a very good player.
Just in terms of the Africa Cup of Nations players, when do you expect to get told? And will it be all at the same time? Because Luz starts earlier than Brian and...
I don't know if it's going to be the same situation, like you said. It depends of the games, of the every national team has his ideas, their ideas about when they want the players. I expect today to have a decision, or maybe tomorrow.
And of course, this guys, you know, this was on Friday.
All the players available to choose the best team to start the game.
And just with the Ligt in particular, you were hopeful that he would...
Big up Compose.
And now he's not. What is the nature of the problem, and how long is that?
I think he has something in his back. I don't know for sure. And sometimes you see it's not a big injury, because he finished the game quite well against Crystal Palace, but he has some pain. So you sometimes think he's going to solve during this week, but sometimes he feels a little bit pain, and we have to be careful with that.
Ruben, you've always talked about the next game being the next challenge. How big a challenge is Bournemouth?
I think he's a top team, top manager with a special player.
Iraola.
So I think he's. I don't look at, again, I don't look to the results. I look the way they face every opponent. They press really strong. They are really direct in the game. They can play with the different options in front, and that give us a lot of options to work to prepare the game. So I expect, again, one Premier League game that is really tough.
I mean,
but we need to win.
Expected to be tough, guys. You know that.
And that is the goal.
Recent results haven't gone Andoni Iraola's way, but what have you made of what he's done at that football club?
Special. I think the way they play the game like a big team, what he's doing for some players, that I think he's improving some players, and you can look at that team and it looks for several players that can play in the high level, and that is an amazing job by the manager.
Guys, I couldn't say that better myself about Andoni Iraola, guys, because you know this is a manager that I told, man, he's very, very interesting. Of course, it does, make give the notice that I probably would like this manager maybe a bit more than the manager that we have, but I just think it's a matter of preference on stylistic of manager. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, guys. I think it's an interesting contest against Bournemouth that faces us. As like Campos say, we need 3 points, must get a win. We're not sure to get points against Villa and Newcastle. I would say slightly that I think the Villa challenge for Man United is not one of those games that we usually have to worry about. We usually beat Villa. It's usually a big game for Villa when they do scrape a win against Man United. And yes, they probably have beaten us last season, but I expect United, even against Newcastle this season, to probably find a way to win. And I think it's more stylistically and the slight differences in some of the players that we have on the pitch right now. And while I may not be a fan of Cunha, against a team like Newcastle, Cunha should definitely be a difference maker with the way he is strong and carrying the ball. And guys, I'm an honest guy. I might say I don't rate the guy, but he could still prove me wrong. I'll say I got it wrong. I got it wrong with Ahmad. Of course, we've seen Ahmad flourishing, and of course, the performances are always improving. So at the end of the day, these players are talented stars, athletes, big signings, and of course, big players in Manchester United, which is a big team. So of course, we expect you have to put these players to the test. These players have to give and show that they deserve these performances. You know what I mean? Semenyo hurt his ankle the other week. We should give him a little kick early on, says Compost. Well, I mean, he's a special player, Compost, and I kind of expect Man United to make Semenyo their first signing in January alongside none other than Angelo Stiller. So I think it's going to be a little bit difficult to injure or possible new signing that's coming in January. You know what I mean? And I would say that, be rough with him. Make sure and put him off his game. But this is why you keep Dalot on the left wing back and you put Patrick Dorgu on the right hand side. And a lot of people might be looking at me like, yo, Mark, Dorgu on the right hand side. But if you know my buddy Bali Tech, he's been telling everyone, he always tells us this, Dorgu is more confident on the right-hand side. And the stats from his performances in Italy also prove him right. So I would say to you guys, let's go with what we have. Let's go with a team mostly of what we are seeing good performances from previously. Let's add, Lisandro Martinez into this team for a little bit of bite in the defense. Of course, De Ligt should be coming back into the team. Of course, if he's still injured, which is what Amarim was speaking on, maybe you just start Eden Haven. And if Maguire is ready, who he says is out, he can't join the team. So then, therefore, Luke Shaw has to start. Now, I think, maybe you put Luke Shaw on the left, Lissandro in the center, and of course, Eden Haven on the right-hand side. I think that will be an interesting centre-back situation for Manchester United, an aggressive one that is also mobile and very good on the ball. And of course, you have the height with Eden Haven and the physicality with Lisandro Martinez, and you have the composure of Luke Shaw on the left-hand side. You know what I mean? The problem is the man. This interview was on I believe on Friday, my bro. So I believe as of today, they are all at AFCON because I was checking it out, and then Bumo has been ruled out. He is gone to AFCON. So I guess the AFCON team said to Man United, we need our stars. They are stars of our team. We expect to win this tournament. For Cameroon, the likes of Ivory Coast as well, it's going to be one of those times. But United will have to do better. We do have talent. Will the manager be brave, Campos move? Will he bring in Shea Lacey? Because I could see, I think if we were to make a little slight change and push Bruno into the 10 role, you drop Mason Mount into the 8, I think our midfield is very much secure. We get a consistent performance. Of course, Cunha will have to show his worth in that midfield. Of course, he will be the 10, and of course, the chosen starter of Ruben Amorim. And you put Joshua Zirkzee at striker. I think the biggest thing is keeping Dalot at left wing back where we've seen consistent performances. You know what I mean? Then you have the slight changes to the defense. You have Luke Shaw coming in. You have Eden Haven pushing to the right. You're going to be slotting Lisandro Martinez into a central position, which he should be comfortable with, playing left centre back many times before. You know, just will be more in an inside role, like if he was playing in a back four, which makes it easier for him to adapt there. And then you just put Dorgu on the right. And if you're not willing to play Dorgu, bring Shea Lacey in, guys. Hear me out. If there's one thing Man United fans could accept, is a youngster, and a youngster who we all know is very good at attacking, very creative, good on the ball. Of course, he may not be up to the yet physical challenge, but when is he ever going to be there? Is there always a perfect time to introduce young talent? Are we always going to always wait for the perfect, stable Man United team to bring in a talent, or are we going to give them that chance because they've been preparing all their lives for this in the academies? So I would say to you guys, let's be daring. Let's take the challenge. Let's go for it, guys, because at the end of the day, what do we have to lose? What really do we have to lose, guys? Sort of, broski, sort of, broski. So we get screwed because we played on a Monday. It's going to be interesting. You know what I mean? 4-1 up versus Wolves, you won't get many chances to play the youth. And this is another argument I would have, guys. And while we're not going to hold it to the manager right now because, of course, he had a terrible season last season, so I think he'll be so focused on maybe trying to stick with the senior players who've been there and done it to get him results. Yeah, it's one of those things. While we on top of it, you could get jail in Germany for question World II history. Okay, cool, bro. Good to know. This is a football channel. We're talking about yeah, Man United winning, my brethren. Big up to you. We're not questioning anything about World War II in this current moment. Yeah. So big up to you, my broski. Shout out to Sanson in the building. I know the Chelsea fans happy this weekend. You know, smashing win. Cole Palmer scored some goals. You know what I'm saying? But this is Man United moment, my brother. You know, tomorrow after the game, come to the Premier Roundup on Tuesday. You know, you could banter all they want and support Chelsea. That's the stream where we encourage all the fans from all the clubs to join us and support their club, give their chest for their weekend's performances. But right now, my brethren, you know what I mean? What do you think about Man United's chances against Bournemouth as a Chelsea fan? Let me know, son. I think Man United have a very good chance. I don't know about you guys, but you know, I think the chances improve because the likes of Joshua Zirkzee, he's been getting some game time. I think he's been improving in his performances, and I think he's only going to get better. Something quite like last season. And, you know, while Benjamin Sesko is unavailable for a match yet, he's already back in training. So it will be interesting to see when he comes in how it works. Remember, there's going to be quite a few games, about 3 weeks, where our players will not be available for Man United selection. And that takes us into the end of January before they start returning from AFCON, hopefully without injuries. And that's going to be the complicated thing. Bournemouth don't park the bus, so it will suit us better. Thank you, Compost. I know a lot of people haven't been thinking about that. We struggle against low box, but not against teams that come at us. And having the likes of Joshua Zirkzee, Bruno, Mason Mount, Matthias Cunha, and possibly a confident Dogu on the right-hand side or a Shea Lacey if the manager really takes a big risk. I think it presents an opportunity for Man United to smash Bournemouth, not only on the counter, but after countering and scoring an early first goal, maybe scoring a second, severely hampering Bournemouth's will to attack in the first half, but putting them off on a shaky position and being able to probably come around and score a third goal before the half closes. I think Man United can possibly put themselves in a situation to get a probably 3-1, maybe another 4-1 win. We've found the taste for goals. Scoring goals is becoming a consistent thing for Man United. I don't think should be worried about scoring goals. I think we should be, you know, going out there and trying to score more goals because we are at home. Shout out to Irish Pet Terrier in the building, my brethren. How are you doing? If all is well, you know Man United will be doing well tomorrow. We are all here in support. And of course, before you guys say, let me know what you guys think. Bruno at the 10, guys. A masterpiece or risk? In my opinion, this is his best position. This is where Bruno thrives the most. And of course, he's already leading the league on creativity and stats, terms of assist, ball retention, passes, maybe not ball retention. Let me not get ahead of myself. But, passes, big chances created. And I think that says a lot about Bruno Fernandes, who's actually playing out of position in the midfield where he's not really known to be a big player there. He's not the typical midfielder. He's an attacking midfielder. Of course he is, a number 10 for sure, but not a number 8, guys. So it's going to be very interesting. And like Ricky Red is coming in and chiming to say, 3 of our next 4 Prem games are at home. We need to make this count. Could we get our second 3-game win back to back in a row? And could we do it in front of the home fans? This is my question to you guys. Sun coming in here. United is not good this season. Everybody just bad. Arsenal nearly draw versus Wolves. No, brother. Arsenal paid Wolves to score 2 goals so that they can walk away winners. I mean, they need to be investigated for their PayPal, their Zella app, or even possibly their Cash app. You know what I mean? That everyone has American accounts sometimes these days. You need to have them checked. But what I'm saying to you, broski, is that you can't say that, because if Chelsea stumbled against Wolves or stumbles against Wolves, what are you gonna say then, my brother? This is why you shouldn't be criticizing the performances. I think a lot of teams, some of them are not as strong as they were last season, but then there are some teams that have slightly improved, but not because they sign players, just because the players that they have are more experienced in the system who have joined those teams last season. So it's not always as it seems, bro. This is the Premier League. And the Premier League, I keep telling everybody, it can't just be the number 1 league in name only. It has to be that it's the most competitive league. And even if our team is in 19th, I'm pretty sure that 19th place team will go to maybe the Portuguese league and finish top 3. You understand? So you guys can't, you can't bash the thing like that, guys. Come on, be real. The league is not high flying. I would agree on that, but I can't say it stinks, bro. Come on, Compost. It hasn't been such a bad watch. I see Liverpool, some teams getting upset, in big ways. I think those games were good games. There have been a lot of good games this season, guys. A lot of upsets. You know what I mean? And this is not because the teams that were expected to win just played poorly. The teams that they were facing came out and shocked them, in my honest opinion. Wolves versus boy. Let me tell you something, yeah, bro. Or they would be shocked to see Wolves probably slap Sporting Lisbon. Yeah. Slap Benfica. Or they would be shocked, bro. I mean, who would have, bro? Come on, man. Or listen, I'm not trying to put down the Portuguese league, but it really only have 3 big teams. And Premier League teams, not like teams in Europe, bro. They don't they just make tactical changes in game multiple times. You understand? The Premier League game is a more fast-paced game and more physical game than most other leagues. So technically, bro, the players playing at a slight higher level. I mean, except for the real big teams in them other leagues, because they are real big teams, bro. It's different for giants, bro. It's different for giants. You know what I mean? On an entertainment level, modern football isn't for me. I'm not saying the teams are bad. I'm saying it's a bad watch too often. I agree with that, but I think that's helped a lot by the poor refereeing in the Premier League. I think the referees in the Premier League are some of the worst referees in European football. I think if you look around some of the leagues, even in La Liga, even in France, even in Italy, they have better refereeing and a better standard of refereeing than in the Premier League. I think there's too much indecisive decisions or too much interpreted decisions in different ways for the same rule from multiple different referees. And I think that takes away from the consistency of the game. And I don't know why the PGMOL allows referees to have so widely varying different interpretations to the same rules and similar circumstances. I think that's the biggest problem. Maybe that should change, and maybe by some way, some shape or form. I don't know how that's going to work. Maybe a petition needs to be written, but referees should have a consistent approach to every single rule in and every single circumstance in that can possibly happen in the game. I think it should be unanimous. I don't think each referee should have an individual interpretation. I think it should be generalized. So there's a consistency, and there's not a handball here today, and the same exact situation happens in a game on the other side of the city, and it's not a handball. I think that's nonsense. It changes the value of the game. So let's see how that goes. The league has been trashed so far, but I'm enjoying Palace play plus Rio and around the team whole season. This is a good watch this season. It's going to get more interesting. There's some young Trinidadians getting promoted into teams as well. There's one at Wolves. There's another one coming through the ranks at Palace, not just Rio. You know what I mean? So it gets more interesting for a lot of small national teams like ours from the Caribbean and around the world that have players breaking into these major leagues and major teams. You know, Chelsea, £1 billion bottle jobs. They did win this weekend, bro. I don't think you should be laughing at them right now. They did lose. Shout out to my brethren, the Waffle Down in the building. Big up to you, broski. You know what I mean? Arsenal, yeah. Shout out to paying money for the win. Big up to you guys. You're not gonna always get a freebie, you know what I mean, on the house. Sometimes you're gonna have to work harder for it, bro. But like I said, if you can get the luck and still win those games, things happen. Yeah, bro, it gets nice. It's getting nice. You know what I mean? And I think all of these things, and as the next 2-3 years happen, we would see a lot more talent coming into our CONCACAF zone from Europe. And of course, you never know what could happen. Maybe JJ Gabriel thinks like Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm going to put Trinidad on my back and take them to multiple World Cups and possibly win a World Cup with one of the smallest nations in world football. You never know. I mean, like, it would be a dream for us Trinis. You know what I mean? At the same time, some people would say it would never happen. But let's be honest, guys. The guy has been so highly rated by so many big international clubs like Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, you name it. They're all after this kid. PSG, Inter Milan, Juventus, and what I would say is that it's good that he's playing in England because he's learning with the best and among the best and is one of the best. And of course, he's already at Manchester United, guys. So it's not like he needs exposure. You know what I mean? He just needs to, take the real historic glory of carrying a small nation to the World Cup seriously. I just think it might be more interesting than winning with England. Like, there's so much talent in England, bro. If you win with Trinidad, it's a much bigger thing. You know what I mean? It goes down in the Guinness Book of Records, bro. You know what I'm saying? Bucks, you know what I mean, bro? I gotta do it, bro. I gotta do it. The dude is amazing. You know what I mean? We got him. We just had to get better. Bro, I'm not saying when I will. Well, I mean, if we have, listen to me. Right now, it have a couple young talents coming out, yeah? And you never know. It mightn't be the greatest ever football team, but it might be the very best that we ever put together, in terms of age and ability, coming from different backgrounds in Europe and stuff like that. And of course, some of the returning players from this campaign, the best performers. I think this Trinidad team will actually come out of our World Cup group. If you add the likes of a JJ Gabriel, maybe a 28-year-old Sancho, you never know what could happen. So, you have to keep the dream alive. And you have a team there now with a lot of talent in a lot of positions. And, there's other players around that will probably join. There could be a Levi Cole will come into Trinidad. You never know. You know what I mean? So it could see that Trinidad end up with some strong players in key positions. that changed the game for Trinidad and Tobago. But I mean, at the end of the day, we talk about Manchester United right now. Boxing, Netherlands, Spain, Portugal, England have won 2 World Cups combined in like 400 years combined. And Broski, you know what I'm saying? Well, son, you never know. You never know, son. And how to keep the dream alive, how to keep the faith. But anyway, guys, that's a little bit of light smiles and light here because, of course, we're in a World Cup year. And of course, AFCON is coming up. You'll be seeing some of the AFCON on this channel. Of course, a lot of African stars not going to AFCON this year, but those who are there definitely will be competing for the prizes. Shocked to see that Nigeria is not making the World Cup. That's interesting. Yeah, bro. The man can't stop scoring. Top scoring in the French league at the moment. Big guy, bro. I never see you winning, bro. Box possibly. You know what I mean? Brother, why not? If bro, listen, yeah. If all the talent who have heritage links could play for Trinidad and you could see like them in Football Manager, you probably get to a quarters. You probably get to a quarters box. Trust me. You know what I mean? If you're just based on heritage, no nothing else, it might possibly be the one. Yeah, yeah. But we's Manchester United, bro. And look, we already have the likes of JJ Gabriel, it's Shea Lacey. They might not. JJ Gabriel is definitely a generational talent. You know what I mean? Shea Lacey, he's up there. I can't quite say he's generational, but can't yet bring myself to say that he's probably not. You know what I mean? Then it have young Rooney coming up as well. It have lots of talents coming through, man. AFCON games live on ITV4 if you're in the UK. Well, I mean, you could slap one ITV4 and then come to MarkN MUFC fan channel for the bands. You know what I mean? Because we're talking about it. And guys, I support in Mali. You know what I mean? Of course, I'll also be covering Equatorial Guinea, and of course, the guys and my brethren on them, they'll be covering other teams. But you can get all the games live on my channel. You know what I mean? It will have 2 games live, but some days, sometimes it will have 4 games live, depending on the time, sometimes 1. But all the AFCON games, you could get watch-alongs right here with your boy MarkN. Morocco will be interesting, bro. We'll do covering the live. We'll be doing a live watch-along for that game on Sunday. So come join your boy MarkN. We'll be giving some right talks about, our former player, Amrabat. And of course, Nusa Mazrari will be in the building, so you know how it goes. We're hoping that they get a good performance going. Of course, Man United needs to win tomorrow night first. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we will see how it goes. We will see how it goes, Campos. Ghana make a World Cup, but can't make AFCON. Bomba clot. You know how it goes, Box. You know how it goes. You never know, bro. But we will see how it goes. Definitely. If DR Congo upset some teams there too, it will be interesting. I hope Cameroon, Ivory Coast, and Morocco go out early. Well, Cameroon, I believe, in the same group with Ivory Coast, so it could be interesting. I back in Mali, you know what I mean? This brother, Nenny Dorgelis, I think he's an interesting left wing back option for Man United. I will be watching him. And of course, I hear some rumors it might be possible Sekou Kole might be called up to the squad. I have to double check tomorrow and see if it's actually true what's going on there. But hopefully, you never know. Fingers crossed, the young talent will be getting a chance. Let's see how he's go. Morocco hosting hosting them new stadium, bro. I see some bits of it and thing, bro, because yeah, it has some things that you know what I mean. Your boy is working in events, so you know it's go. Yeah. So luckily. But we'll discuss that on another day. Big up. I can see Cameroon going out early, but not Morocco, Ivory Coast. I think Ivory Coast real strong enough, guys. And if Ahmad provide that kind of form he provide against, let me say that he have a game like he played against Liverpool. Problems. Problems. Yeah, bro. It look real nice. It looks really nice, bro. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, we'll LinkedIn any dog Ellis, bro. But I don't know. They're afraid to go and buy the guy, bro. But he had Fenerbahce now, and Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but he's right. He's he's certainly a left-sided talent, bro. Channels, New Zealand, nah, bro. Bomba clot. Anyway, guys, blessings to all of you joining. You know, I've worked early in the morning. Just wanted to bring this preview to you guys. Please drop your prediction in the chat or in the non-live comments. If you have the time, let me know your match predictions. Of course, what are your match predictions? Really and truly, guys, I forget to ask you all that because, you know, and who is your man of the match? Let me know. My man of the match, if they put this brother in the 10, I think Bruno will have a big performance, quite like in the last game. Maybe a hat trick, maybe a brace, but definitely a couple assists. Yeah, I think that guy needs to go back in the 10. And of course, I'm looking forward to Cunha finally getting a goal because I think he deserved a goal in the last game. It will be interesting to see his performance as well. And of course, Joshua Zirkzee, yeah, more of the same from the youngster. And I hope he starts very aggressively from minute one. Son is saying 1-1 Bournemouth versus United. Born Compost is saying 3-1 United, another tough 90 minutes though. I'm inclined to agree with you more than the Chelsea fan there. He's a hater, but still a virgin, so big up to him in the chat. And guys, let me know in the non-live section, and don't forget to please smash the likes, check your notification bell, guys. A lot of people have been telling me that YouTube hasn't been sending them notifications when I go live, so they don't think I'm streaming as consistently as I actually am. So guys, please double check that your notifications are set to all. Let me know, smash a like, and of course, share it around and subscribe. Road to 2,000 subscribers is on. Let's get there. And of course, let's go Red Devils. Big up to each and every one of you joining. Your boy MarkN, MUFC fan.
Baby.